Epilogue. "When did you first suspect her?" Marianne said, as she and Georgie Fraser followed Joe, Effie and DC Corby down the cinder track to the bunkhouse. They were a little slower than the others, and Marianne wondered if Effie had swept the other two along, allowing her and Georgie a few minutes alone. Below, in the valley, she saw a tractor crossing Steve Olson's yard and remembered how, only 10 days earlier, she'd had her first sight of the police Land Rover. "Claire," Fraser said. "Not until Wiltshire Sam called me last night. And then all these little things kind of joined up. Her name. Anna called her boyfriend Bear. I thought it was just a rhyme at first, Claire Bear. But then I remembered the Latin. Ursid means a member of the bear family. Ursidae." "So it does," Marianne said. The word made her think suddenly of another Latin name, Corvidae, of Joe's thesis on their family habits, of how he liked to watch the hooded crows up by the chair. Joe, a gift given to her by Georgie Fraser. "And there was Sally Parker," Fraser said. "Without her explicitly saying so, I was fairly sure she'd been in love with Anna, even if it wasn't truly reciprocated. It all made me see it from a different perspective, and I'd always thought it was odd that Claire hadn't recognised Anna when we'd shown her the photo. In my experience, women are better with faces than men." Walking together, with the dogs shuttling between them and the party in front, Marianne felt her elbow very close to Fraser's. Joe walked ahead between the two women, bending his head a little to hear something that Effie was saying. Marianne liked his walk, could see him in a wetsuit with a surfboard under his arm, or hauling a dinghy onto wet sand. Her child, a fully formed man. Fraser had sensed her thoughts. "How are things with you and Joe?" she asked. Marianne looked at her, admiring the sharp cheekboned profile, and smiled. "Good," she said. "Strange. Frightening and wonderful at the same time." She wondered if it was all right to ask. "So Anna really thought I was her birth mother?" "Until the agency realised their mistake. A computer error, they said. Anna and Joe were placed for adoption through the same agency in Worcester, and they had the same birthday. Pure coincidence. I don't know what the probability is of a circumstance like that, but pretty rare, I imagine. Apparently they said that your change of name might have upset the system." She hadn't changed it by much, Marianne thought. An I in place of a Y, and the removal of a hyphen to make it one word. Her surname she had buried with the girl who had ceased to exist that night in the sand dunes at Saunton. Leonard had been her grandmother's name, a free-spirited, independent woman who'd camped out at Greenham Common and had had no time for her daughter's religious obsession. A hippie, Marianne's parents had called her. "How did you work out it was Joe and not Anna?" Marianne asked. "He broke down when I questioned him. After putting up quite a good fight, I have to say. Turns out all this working on the mend, studying corvids up around the chair was a ploy to be near you, to get to know you. I'd had an inkling before, mind you. He's got a look of you about him." Marianne was silent for a moment, turning Fraser's words over in her mind. She might so nearly never have met him. If not for his courage, they would have remained lost to each other. "Does he know about what happened to you?" Georgie Fraser asked. "Joe, about his father?" "No," Marianne said, wondering that she should be able to talk about it so easily. There was something about how Fraser approached it that took away its power. "Not yet. I suppose he'll have to know someday, but perhaps I can dilute it for him. The truth, but not the whole truth." Now was not the time for that. First they needed to get to know each other. There were 24 lost years to be filled in. Marianne might not want him to know how she had spent them, but she was greedy for every detail of his life, greedy to know his family who had loved and raised him. "He's asked if I'd like to visit him in Devon, when he goes home." "And will you?" Marianne shrugged. I don't know. I always said I'd never go back, but... But? Maybe it's time. Face those demons. An absurd thought crossed her mind. That she could face those demons if Georgie Fraser came with her. Fraser shot her that swift smile of hers. I had another invitation for you. A little further north than Devon. Marianne raised an eyebrow. You mentioned closing the place up for a bit, giving yourself a break. I've some annual leave in August, and you've never been to Mull. Marianne's heart thudded, and her stomach dropped like a roller coaster. Her mouth was suddenly dry. They were almost at the bunkhouse, and she saw Donald at the gate to the camping field talking to Riley. They must all be reeling. Everyone had liked Claire. What would Donald say if she told him she was going to the Isle of Mull with Georgie Fraser? Thank you, she said to Georgie. Can I take a bit of time to think about it? A chatter and a squawk erupted from the trees and several magpies soared above the bunkhouse. Looking up, Marianne noticed a grey hue to the sky, and in the distance, over towards Wales, thunder growled. Georgie Fraser gave a low laugh. Devil's in his chair again, she said.